You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for joining us this Friday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here is a look at some of our news headlines this morning. Breaking news from the East Bay, a large police presence at Skyline High School in Oakland right now. We're hearing reports that the school might be on lockdown. According to the East Bay Times, there was a report of a student bringing a gun onto campus. Our chopper saw police looking through classrooms and talking to students there. We are going to continue to follow this. Police in Oakland will now have more freedom to go after criminals. This comes after the police commission voted to approve changes to the city's rules on high-speed chases. Before, officers had to get permission to chase suspects going more than 50 miles an hour, but now police are going to be able to start pursuits and then get supervisor approval to continue them. 75 people out of their homes after fire tore through a two-story apartment building in San Jose. Firefighters say that fire started inside the attic of the apartment complex on David Avenue. Those flames impacted 22 apartments. This happened just after 5 yesterday evening. No injuries reported. The cause of that fire still under investigation. 3 men have been charged in connection with that smash and grab robbery at a jewelry store in San Ramon. More than 20 thieves stormed Heller Jewelers at the City Center Bishop Ranch Shopping Center on Monday. They smashed display cases with pickaxes and grabbed whatever they could. That video here shows them shooting through the glass doors after struggling to leave the store. Officials say they stole more than $1 million worth of stuff. Police detained several suspects in Oakland and Dublin, and now the DA's office says that Michael Ray Jr., Jimmy Ray, and Ira Austin all facing numerous charges, including second-degree robbery. Police still working to identify other people involved. All right, the weekend is just about upon us. Let's get a check on our first alert forecast now. Meteorologist Jessica Burt's tracking today's warm-up and a shift ahead.
It has been a very active weather week for us here in the Bay Area. Tuesday, we had a heat advisory off into our inland spots, making its way all the way up along the peninsula. Wednesday, we were talking about stormy weather, and today, well, as we wrap up this week and head into this weekend, we're actually going to see some more fall-like weather around the corner. Today's a little bit above average, actually, by about 7 degrees in Redwood City at 84. 84 all the way down into San Jose, putting us 3 degrees above average there. We have some 90s trickled in there off to the East Bay, and you make your way up into wine country. We have 80s in store for us today, just in time for harvest. At the same time, some other things to mention. It's a little bit cooler and cloudier along the coast today. We do have those light winds starting to pick up into the afternoon hours along the coast. That influence will bring us some 70s and higher relative humidity into places like San Francisco. The winds will be a lot lighter down into the Santa Clara Valley, with daytime highs, of course, sitting in the 80s, putting us a little bit above average too. But we have some changes in the forecast as we head into this weekend. And then by next week, Monday and Tuesday, we're talking about some storms returning into the forecast. But before we even get there, let's talk a little bit more about those winds. Very light this morning, actually pushing a little bit offshore, which is unusual. But as we head into the afternoon hours today, they start to pick up. That onshore influence will be noticeable in places like Half Moon Bay up into Stinson Beach and all the way up into Bodega Bay. We're expecting about 20 to 25 mile per hour winds the more north we go along that coastline into the evening hours tonight. But let's take a look at the next 7 days. Today is a warm day for us. We actually cool back down into the 80s tomorrow, 70s by Sunday, and then we hold on tight to 70s as we head into next week. That's our inland forecast. Beautiful weather across the board, but more fall-like for sure as we head into this weekend and early next week. Now we make our way over into the Bay. Places like Oakland and San Francisco will also get that stormy weather. We'll keep you updated on those rainfall totals here in the Weather Center.
Thanks, Jess. Now more to some big changes in the Oakland Police Department's pursuit policy. Police officers have now gotten the green light to engage in a high-speed chase to track down criminals. But as Veronica Macias tells us, critics are concerned about the potential risk to the community.
Police officers here in Oakland now have more freedom to go after criminals. Imagine what it's like for a victim knowing that police cannot pursue a suspect trying to escape and speeding off. It all changes immediately in this latest effort in Oakland to crack down on crime. This policy now allowing officers to pursue a suspect going over 50 miles an hour. Officers no longer will have to call it in, just get clearance to continue a pursuit. Police Chief Floyd Mitchell arguing that high-speed pursuits are necessary in Oakland. But advocates who wanted the policy to remain the same are afraid of the potential innocent lives at risk when there's a high-speed chase on the streets of Oakland. because they've seen it before. In May, one incident strongly making the case against these high-speed pursuits, a beloved Castlemont High School teacher killed as a driver tried to get away from CHP. Law enforcement, though, said they had stopped chasing when Mr. Marvin Boomer was struck. While safety advocates praise this new policy, some people are questioning it and whether it will be worth risking lives here in Oakland.
The pursuit of non-violent felonies is just not on the table.
I feel like the police doing these chases isn't always the solution that we need, because at the end of the day, there's a bigger risk for the chases than there are a solution.
And there was pressure from the highest level here in California. The governor had threatened to pull CHP resources if the policy did not change here in Oakland. Data showing from police that there were a total of 600 police pursuits between the year of 2018 and 2023, 6 of them being deadly.
Well, the police department says they will report back quarterly to see if the policy changes are leading to dangerous chases causing more deaths or injuries. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted, that just days after President Trump called on the DOJ to prosecute his political enemies. Comey has been criminally charged with 2 felonies, making a false statement and obstruction of a congressional proceeding, both related to Senate testimony in 2020, in which he denied authorizing leaking information to the media. Comey proclaimed his innocence on social media last night.
I have great confidence in the federal judicial system, and I'm innocent. So let's have a trial. My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump.
Last week, President Trump says he fired the previous U.S. attorney in Virginia who would not pursue charges against Comey, and he was replaced by White House aide Lindsey Halligan, who did file the charges. Halligan, who does not have prosecutorial experience, was the only one to sign the charging documents, which legal analysts say is unusual. This morning, President Trump called the indictment a win.
It's about justice, really. It's not revenge. It's about justice. Comey was one of the people. He wasn't the biggest, but he's a dirty cop. He's always been a dirty cop. Everybody knew it.
According to court documents, the grand jury rejected charging Comey with an additional count of lying to Congress. President Trump says his administration is going to impose some new tariffs, this on an array of products, including pharmaceuticals, furniture, and heavy trucks made outside of the U.S. Trump is citing national security as the main reason. The president slapping the largest tariff, 100%, on pharmaceuticals, unless a company is in the process of building a manufacturing facility in the U.S. Other levies range from 25% to 50%. Those tariffs set to take effect on Wednesday, October 1st. San Francisco has long had a reputation of letting red tape get in the way of progress, but now city leaders are highlighting their attempts to streamline the permitting process to make the city more business-friendly. One supervisor taking aim at certain rules that are preventing small businesses from opening new shops. Kenny Choi explains what's on the line, and it all starts at a roastery in Berkeley.
Milana Ram has been tinkering with her coffee roast. When she does, she often thinks of her parents in India.
The motivation basically came from trying to save the family farm, but now once we are in this, we are so passionate about the coffee.
She and her husband, Himanshu Baisare, studied and found jobs as software and electrical engineers, but it's hard to hide what they really want to do next.
The beans come from a small region called Chikmagalur. It's in a southern mountain region of India.
They rent time at a roastery in Berkeley every couple weeks and are selling their product at farmers markets. But they hope to build their brand by opening a brick-and-mortar roastery and cafe in San Francisco where they live.
We were pretty much literally like one dot away from signing the lease agreement.
But North Beach permitting rules include a prior use requirement. That means a new coffee shop and roastery wouldn't be allowed to open at this spot on Lombard, which was once a dry cleaning business. Milana and her husband couldn't believe it.
I went to 2-3 more offices in the same department. Like, is this really true? Because it made no sense to me.
District 3 Supervisor Danny Sauter has introduced legislation to eliminate that prior use requirement among other permitting rules.
It's things like that that are really frustrating, especially when we have someone who wants to bring their business to San Francisco, and we have all these barriers that are preventing them from opening up.
Sauter believes by loosening the restrictions, it will directly impact the number of vacant storefronts in North Beach.
We've already had about a dozen different small business owners reach out to us and tell us that without this legislation, they literally could not open what they want to open. They could not grow their existing business.
Milana and her husband haven't found a place yet.
I am extremely hopeful that the bill is going to get passed, new law is going to be in effect in a few months, and we will get our cafe on Lombard Street.
They believe they're a step closer to opening their first cafe and roastery and bringing Indian coffee from her parents' farm to the Bay.
The proposed ordinance would also allow businesses to merge storefronts and expand into an adjacent empty space more easily. The Board of Supervisors expected to consider Sauter's legislation this month. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area. Thieves used a truck to ram into a San Jose deli, and it's not the first time.
Unfortunately, people just disrespect us time after time.
How a family's dream business has turned into a nightmare. Plus, massive crowds, all for an internet celebrity. Why a popular YouTuber made a stop here in the Bay Area, and how some moments turn dangerous.
It has been a wild week with the weather. We had an earthquake to kick off this week, first things first, and then suddenly we talked about a heat wave on Tuesday, stormy weather Wednesday and Thursday, and now we're to Friday and temperatures are right back up to above average conditions in our inland areas, at least, with sunny skies to kick off this weekend. We'll get into that fall-like pattern by Saturday and Sunday with 70s and 80s around the corner, and some stormy weather as we head into next Monday and Tuesday. That's also noticeable for our friends along the bay. We have showers in the forecast around the corner, so we'll keep you updated on those rainfall totals here in the Weather Center.
And you might have seen this in the sky last night, a bright light streaking across the Bay Area and could be seen through much of Northern California. This video from one of our viewers in Brentwood, Sherry, filming that mysterious object at around 8 o'clock. No word yet from NOAA if this was a meteor or space debris or something else. It is a community favorite in San Jose that's been serving up Italian favorites for decades. But now the family that owns Antipasto says that they feel like they're under attack. This week, somebody drove their truck into the store on McKee Avenue and then burglarized it. And this isn't the first time it's happened. Len Ramirez shows us how the community is rallying behind this family.
It was just after 3 a.m. Monday morning. A surveillance camera captured a pickup truck backing straight through the glass front doors of Antipasto's Italian Deli. Within seconds, burglars rushed inside, grabbing expensive bottles of wine and beer before taking off, leaving behind a trail of broken glass and twisted door frames. It's the third time since 2024 the family-run deli has been hit this way. The last time, just this past July, happened in almost the same way. Today, Nick DeRose said the family is considering some sort of barriers to block the entrance, but it's a balancing act because they don't want to make their store into a fortress.
It's frustrating. We come here, we've been doing this for 38 years, and unfortunately, people just disrespect us time after time. And it's getting a little harder and harder as time goes by. After 38 years, we're getting a little fed up with the disrespect.
Antipasto's was opened in 1986 by Nick and Mary DeRose. Nick Sr. has since passed, but Mary still works here daily, keeping her husband's dream alive.
You feel like you're invaded, you know, and it's invasive on your personal life, that someone's targeting you and the family. So we do the best we can and start over again. That's all we can do.
As usual, the business was packed around lunchtime. Among those showing support today, Santa Clara County District Attorney Jeff Rosen and his Chief Assistant DA Jay Boyarsky.
I want businesses like this to thrive in East San Jose and all over our county, and that's why we got to catch the guys who did this and put them away and send a message that if you commit a crime like this, you're going to get caught and you're going to go to jail.
Gino, the oldest brother, says the outpouring of community support is what keeps the family going. But he admits each time the thieves strike, it gets harder.
We try to keep a smile on our face and be grateful for the customers that walk through the door and pay their patronage to us and their support for many years. I mean, it's a great community. We enjoy being here, and we look forward to still being here, but you know, nobody can tell what the future is.
Well, the losses total more than $6,000. Just last week, the Santa Clara County DA's office announced funding for security cameras and cement barriers to help prevent crimes like these. Massive crowds throughout San Francisco and other parts of the Bay Area, all for one person. He drew these crowds outside of his hotel yesterday, met with local restaurant owners who took pictures with him to put up on the wall, and even got a personal welcome from city leaders. Really the kind of reception that you'd expect for a famous musician or movie star. But this guy is a YouTuber. I Show Speed. He's a 20-year-old live streamer right now on a world tour, streaming his adventures 24/7 to viewers online. He has 44.5 million subscribers on YouTube. These crowds were everywhere he went. Even got a warm welcome from Mayor Daniel Lurie.
All right, everybody, I'm with
I Show Speed.
Tell us about your first impressions of City Hall.
Listen, bro, it's amazing. There's quinceañeras, weddings, everything's here. It's beautiful.
I'm going to call Mayor Daniel Lurie bro next time I see him. Our chopper followed the chaos yesterday. Fans following Speed and his crew with e-bikes, Lime scooters, and cars, as you can imagine. Some of these moments did become dangerous. We spotted a car there running over a bicycle and speeding away. That was on Van Ness Avenue. Looks like the cyclist luckily was not hurt. The scene at the Golden Gate Bridge drew some concern. He did a backflip on the walkway of the bridge. Speed and his entourage did notice our chopper watching him a few times. And as you saw, his fans were following wherever he went. We even joined the chaos at various points. Our photojournalist Jim Flanagan spoke with fans on why this means so much.
Guys, why are you on top of somebody else just to see him?
Because he's an amazing guy. He's really kind-hearted. He's giving away so much. He's just a really good guy.
What do you hope to gain by chasing him all over town?
An autograph, maybe a picture, anything just to see him.
And when day turned to night, he got into his SUV, bodyguards in tow, and headed over to Oakland, where he visited Hi-Fi Burger and ended up in the middle of a sideshow street takeover. This was his first stop in California, part of his 35-day tour. His next stop, things are going to get crazy. That's in Vegas. The 49ers staying home as they host the Jaguars on Sunday. The Niners hoping to remain undefeated, but as Matt Lively explains, the question over the quarterback has yet to be answered.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
Let's start with the good news. Brock Purdy says he's progressing well from his toe injury. The bad news, it's shaping up to be another week where we don't know who is starting under center on Sunday, and you can't just ask Kyle Shanahan to name his starter quite yet.
Let me call him and ask real quick.
Yeah, you do that, Mac. Purdy was once again limited in practice Thursday, but was seen taking the first reps in quarterback drills. That's a good sign towards seeing Brock back on Sunday. But for now, Purdy is day-to-day with Jones ready to back him up if needed.
Really like where I'm at with the progress with it healing up and feeling better and dropping back, throwing, and like where I'm at. So it's been good.
Playing Sunday for sure.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm taking it day by day still, but feel a lot better.
Just like any other week, you're going through the week, getting ready for the game plans as a backup or a starter. So feel comfortable doing both, and I'll be ready to play.
For the Red and Gold Report, I'm Matt Lively.
For more on this weekend's matchup, join Matt and Vern Glenn for the Red and Gold Report tonight, 7:30 on KPIX, and streaming on the free CBS News app. Still ahead here on CBS News Bay Area, flyers warning about an animal that has been on the attack. How an aggressive squirrel is terrorizing the Bay Area neighborhood.
And so she turns around and just jumps on his head, scratched his ear.
We have the Giants game tonight against the Rockies. Big deal there. We're expecting 60s just as that game kicks off, all the way up into San Francisco. But we also have the 49ers game all the way down into, well, close to San Jose. It's going to be against the Jaguars, and we're expecting 70s as that game starts on Sunday just around 1 o'clock. Some other things to talk about, too. Yesterday, the day before, we had some rain in the forecast, and it was pretty impressive in certain pockets of the Bay Area. For example, Los Gatos sitting around a half an inch of rain in total, about a tenth of an inch all the way up into Napa, Livermore. Less impressive numbers along the Santa Clara Valley, but for the most part, this was a South Bay storm. It was wringing out a lot of its moisture, a lot of its energy. We even saw lots of lightning, too, in the hills closer to San Jose, stretched all the way down into places like Gilroy. We're continuing to monitor some rain in the forecast, actually, as we head into next week. Next Monday and Tuesday, there's a chance for some showers. I'm excited to talk more about that coming up in just a bit, but there's some other things going on for us, too. Let's take a quick look at what's happening for us as we head outside today and tomorrow. We have some stronger winds starting to develop, pushing in from offshore. Wind speeds up to around 15 to 20 miles per hour, getting a little bit gustier along Bodega Bay. More on that coming up in just a bit. For now, back to you.
Oh, from mountain lions to coyotes, the Bay Area is full of animals that you might want to keep your distance from. But in San Rafael, it's a squirrel causing quite the commotion. Our Reed Cowan is tracking the critter that sent some people to the ER.
Attack squirrels. And if you don't believe me, believe the signs of neighbors warning neighbors and the neighbors themselves. 5 and counting. Some ending up in the emergency room, like Joe, who got his ear gnawed on and doesn't want to be on camera.
He came down on here and he started gnawing on this fence.
Wait, those are teeth marks?
Those are teeth marks.
You are kidding me.
No. So he come over here and he started gnawing again. I took my hat off to swat him off and he jumped on my head.
Joe's wife, Marie, watched what she calls a fast and mean attack.
Joe gets his baseball cap and hits it. And so she turns around and just jumps on his head, scratched his ear, and then she jumped on his leg, and so he tried to get her off.
Look at these photos taken of the squirrel just before that chunk out of Joe's fence and Joe's ear. A bigger squirrel than the others around here, say a lot of neighbors.
So that's when we went to ER. They thought, oh, yeah, it's a squirrel, they don't have rabies. So we thought, okay, that's it.
But that wasn't it. Look at this. The next day, the mean squirrel came back.
Grandma, watch this. Send it to my teacher.
Listen to Joe and Marie's grandchildren told to stay indoors.
That's the same one, I think.
Let's let him in. Let me see.
No, don't let him in. She was on the side of our kitchen eating the mop. And it was like very hungry and wanted to be fed, I think.
Hangry. Angry
Hangry.
and hungry.
Angry and hungry, yeah.
So now the signs are up. Neighbors are warning neighbors to protect their people and their pets, and the Marin Humane Society posting signs too, even going door to door with warnings.
And we're also told don't walk with shorts, don't walk with anything but heavy dungarees. And as you can see, I'm out here wearing jeans, not shorts.
You're keeping the rules.
I'm keeping the rules, and I don't want to be bit.
You're not being squirrely.
Not being squirrely.
So the neighborhood is working with the Marin Humane Society to try to track down the squirrel. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife suspects the squirrel is likely a non-native species, might have been fed by humans or is being protective of its babies. They agreed that putting up signs to warn people the squirrel is there and to give it space is a good idea. Coming up in the next half hour here on CBS News Bay Area, there is an unprecedented spike in electric vehicle sales. The federal policy change that is driving the rush.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Thanks for being with us this Friday. I'm Ann Makovic, and here's another look at our news headlines today. We are continuing to follow that breaking news from the East Bay right now. Skyline High School in Oakland is on lockdown. Police just told us they got reports of a juvenile that may have brought a firearm onto campus. Our chopper spotted officers looking through classrooms and talking to students. Police placed the school on lockdown as a precaution. They say they are working to identify that juvenile now. Police in Oakland will now have more freedom to go after violent criminals. That comes after the police commission voted to approve changes to the city's rules on high-speed chases. Before, officers had to get permission to chase suspects going more than 50 miles an hour. Now police will be able to start pursuits and then get supervisor approval to continue them. And 3 men Being charged in connection with this smash and grab robbery at a San Ramon jewelry store, more than 20 thieves stormed into Heller Jewelers at City Center Bishop Ranch Shopping Center on Monday. Officials say they stole more than $1 million worth of stuff. Now the DA's office says Michael Ray Jr., Jimmy Ray, and Ira Austin, all facing numerous charges, including second-degree robbery. Police still working to identify others involved. All right, let's get another check on our first alert forecast because the weekend is upon us. Here is meteorologist Jessica Birch.
It has been a very active weather week for us here in the Bay Area. Tuesday, we had a heat advisory off into our inland spots, making its way all the way up along the peninsula. Wednesday, we were talking about stormy weather, and today, well, as we wrap up this week and head into this weekend, we're actually going to see some more fall-like weather around the corner. Today's a little bit above average, actually, by about 7 degrees in Redwood City at 84. 84 all the way down into San Jose, putting us 3 degrees above average there. We have some 90s trickled in there off to the East Bay, and you make your way up into wine country. We have 80s in store for us today, just in time for harvest. At the same time, some other things to mention. It's a little bit cooler and cloudier along the coast today. We do have those light winds starting to pick up into the afternoon hours along the coast. That influence will bring us some 70s and higher relative humidity into places like San Francisco. The winds will be a lot lighter down into the Santa Clara Valley, with daytime highs, of course, sitting in the 80s, putting us a little bit above average too. But we have some changes in the forecast as we head into this weekend. And then by next week, Monday and Tuesday, we're talking about some storms returning into the forecast. But before we even get there, let's talk a little bit more about those winds. Very light this morning, actually pushing a little bit offshore, which is unusual. But as we head into the afternoon hours today, they start to pick up. That onshore influence will be noticeable in places like Half Moon Bay up into Stinson Beach and all the way up into Bodega Bay. We're expecting about 20 to 25 mile per hour winds the more north we go along that coastline into the evening hours tonight. But let's take a look at the next 7 days. Today is a warm day for us. We actually cool back down into the 80s tomorrow, 70s by Sunday, and then we hold on tight to 70s as we head into next week. That's our inland forecast. Beautiful weather across the board, but more fall-like for sure as we head into this weekend and early next week. Now we make our way over into the Bay. Places like Oakland and San Francisco will also get that stormy weather. We'll keep you updated on those rainfall totals here in the Weather Center.
We are in the middle of a record-setting rush to buy electric vehicles. That is because a major financial incentive is going away next week. We're talking about the federal tax credit worth up to $7,500 for buying an electric vehicle. Under the Biden administration, that tax break had been extended through 2032, but that was all wiped away by President Trump's funding bill. So the rush is on at policy shift, driving a spike in sales. State data shows that through the first half of this year, zero-emission vehicles, which include fully electric and plug-in hybrids, made up more than 22% of all car sales here in California. And as Brad Hamilton explains, industry experts expect September sales to break records.
Here's the new car.
Kathy Horan hasn't bought a new car in 13 years. That is, until today.
Oh, it's pretty.
The longtime North Bay resident traded in her beloved hybrid for all electric. Why she's doing it now has one simple reason.
What do you think?
The bonus she gets for buying it isn't sticking around much longer.
When they started cutting down, I said, oh, here's my time frame. I'm going to get it before the end of September.
Introduced in 2022 under the Inflation Reduction Act, the EV tax credit put a sizable dent in the cost of buying all electric. $7,500 for new, $4,000 for used. That is until the Trump administration's Big Beautiful Bill Act set in motion the end of this incentive with an expiration date of September 30th. And that deadline has created the kind of promotion dealerships like David Shapiro's Cartelligent dream of.
Oh my goodness, yes, we are working overtime, especially this past few weeks with the EV tax credit going out. A lot of people have questions and we have the answers.
However, for EV buyers looking for deals starting October 1, don't look for answers from the state of California. While in San Francisco last week, Governor Newsom, a big supporter of electric vehicles, said the state won't be replacing the federal tax credits with its own rebates.
So we can't make up for federal vandalism of those tax credits, but we can continue to make the unprecedented investments in infrastructure.
And for the bigger picture on how big of a deal this soon-to-be no deal is on EV, economist Patrick Anderson has his thoughts.
They can't fall off a cliff because they're not very high. Okay, so they're going to fall off a small hill because that's as high as they got.
You want to sit on the passenger seat?
Bottom line, for someone like Kathy, well, she's not worried about cliffs or hills.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
on your
Thank
new
you.
car.
Today, she got the keys to a brand new car, and it's on a deal that ends soon.
Well, the plug is also being pulled on the state's Clean Air Vehicle Decal program. Starting next Wednesday, EV owners are no longer allowed to drive in the HOV lane solo. According to the DMV, it has the authority to create the CAVD program, but the state must follow federal regulations that are expiring. Starting October 1st, full toll rates will also apply to EV drivers. A plastic recycling startup in Sonoma County says it is leaving California over backlash on its planned operations in the North Bay. The company Resynergy, which turns plastic waste into fuel and new materials, is blaming regulatory hurdles and permitting issues. The company had been battling for permits for a plastics recycling facility in Rohnert Park. Some neighbors expressed concern about how close the plant is to homes and a school, as well as the possibility of contamination. Well, now, CEO Brian Bauer has confirmed the move and said there are better economic incentives elsewhere. No word yet on a new location. In Southern California, the official report is out on the deadly Eaton and Palisades fires in LA County. The independent review is giving us some insight into the apparent failures of the emergency response. It noted that frontline responders acted, quote, decisively and in many cases heroically in the face of extraordinary conditions. But it also highlighted several communication breakdowns and staffing shortages, along with outdated and inadequate evacuation warnings. The report stopped short of assigning blame. The exact causes of the fire are still under investigation. The changing climate is fueling more frequent and intense wildfires like the one in LA, and they are emitting an even more dangerous smoke into the air. In today's Project Earth, as one East Bay boy found out, there are steps you can take to harness your superpower against the growing threat. 8-year-old Nate likes a challenge and aims high. He's got big plans for the future.
I want to be a singer or artist and be in the army and an astronaut.
Another goal?
You're just like,
knowing how to keep his asthma under control.
all I say is, if you have asthma, try avoid pulling the trigger.
One big trigger, wildfire smoke, is posing a unique threat.
New research is showing that wildfire smoke might be especially toxic, especially dangerous form of air pollution.
Marshall Burke is a professor at Stanford University. He says as the climate continues to warm, expect more wildfires with a lot more smoke that contains all kinds of chemicals. Nearly 50 million homes in the U.S. are now located in or near forested areas, with millions more to be built.
Unfortunately, as wildfires burn into cities, what's in the smoke is often what's also in our houses. Wildfires burn up cars, they burn up what's under our sink or in our garages, and that can be really nasty stuff, again, that ends up in smoke that is then inhaled.
Add to that the ultrafine particles already found in smoke that can penetrate the lungs and enter the bloodstream. Burke's research projects that by 2050, smoke exposure alone will kill 70,000 people a year. That includes children, older adults, and those with lung disease.
Already a big number, likely to get bigger under future climate change.
To address the threat, Burke and his team created a free online tool, an interactive atlas.
So here we have the atlas up.
Zoom in or enter your address and learn about the wildfire smoke risk in your home. Soon the site will include what you can do to reduce that risk, including portable air filters.
Not everyone can afford a $200 air filter, so we need to make sure that people can access them.
That's where Dr. Tanya Piperly and Vivian Chang of Breathe California step in. The nonprofit serves 8 counties around the Bay Area. Part of their mission is to give air purifiers to those in need.
There are resources out there. We go out to community centers, and we also work with our partners to do a lot of education and bring awareness about this root cause that is climate change.
Breathe California offers other resources, including a free summer camp for kids with asthma, where they can learn to avoid triggers and use medicine.
We hope that they come out of camp just with the confidence and the knowledge that they need to stay safe at home, at school, and so they can take charge of their asthma.
Nate loved it. His dad knows that knowledge is power.
We can be more informed so that we can protect our kids and protect each other.
Perhaps the best kind of superpower as the climate continues to warm. Well, you can test out the atlas by going to our website, kpix.com, and also learn about Breathe California's big walkathon scheduled for this Saturday. Coming up next here on CBS News Bay Area, we are going to meet a man here raising awareness about the emotional and physical toll of living with alopecia, the efforts he's making so his daughter won't have to go through the same struggles he has.
And it brought me back to some of those emotions that I haven't thought about or felt for 3 or 4 decades.
It has been a wild week with the weather. We had an earthquake to kick off this week, first things first, and then suddenly we talked about a heat wave on Tuesday, stormy weather Wednesday and Thursday, and now we're to Friday and temperatures are right back up to above average conditions in our inland areas at least, with sunny skies to kick off this weekend. We'll get into that fall-like pattern by Saturday and Sunday with 70s and 80s around the corner and some stormy weather as we head into next Monday and Tuesday. That's also noticeable for our friends along the bay. We have showers in the forecast around the corner, so we'll keep you updated on those rainfall totals here in the Weather Center.
It is a disease that can steal more than just hair. It can take confidence, identity, and people's joy. We're talking about alopecia. And today, we're meeting a father who has lived nearly his whole life with alopecia. Now, as Len Ramirez reports, he's afraid his daughter might inherit it.
Here, you want to walk on, sit on my shoulder? Sit on my shoulders. Okay. Whee!
At first glance, this could be any dad enjoying a sunny afternoon with his little girl.
You gonna kneel in the grass, sweetheart?
But for Matt Mizak, the carefree joy of 2-year-old Ever contrasts with his own deep-down anxiety. Matt was diagnosed with alopecia areata universalis, a rare disease that causes total hair loss when he was 3. Now he worries that Ever might face the same painful journey.
There's a strong genetic link to this disease, and so there's an increased probability that she'll get it at some point during her life.
A few months ago, Matt and his wife had a scare. They thought they saw a thinning on Ever's scalp and rushed her to the doctor. The test came back clear, but the concern lingers.
I experienced a lot of fear and uncertainty when I thought that she was potentially not growing hair all over her scalp, and it brought me back to some of those emotions that I haven't thought about or felt for 3 or 4 decades.
Matt's own journey began with confusion. As a little boy, he begged not to return to the same barber, thinking it was a bad haircut that left bald spots on his scalp.
My mom and dad at that point knew what was going on, but I had no idea. I thought that the barber had just shaved off a chunk of my hair. And it progressed. The patches came and went and moved around, and this is all when I was a young child, but by the middle of grade school, almost all the hair on my scalp was gone.
Matt wore a ball cap every day to school, trying to blend in, but he couldn't hide from playground bullies.
One of the cool, tough kids called me names, so I got in his face and he flipped off my hat and I tried to tackle him, and fast forward, we're both in the principal's office and my parents are being called, and it caused problems. It caused emotional problems for me.
Although the discussion about hair loss and alopecia often focuses on the female experience, Matt says it can be just as tough on the guys, especially if it comes at an early age.
It just really hurt. That doesn't know gender.
Here is our brave, strong, beautiful, bald Barbie, and Ken is coming soon.
Nicole Friedman with the National Alopecia Areata Foundation has been gifting brave Barbies to young girls experiencing hair loss. This September, Mattel's decision to produce brave Ken dolls is a powerful recognition that the disease affects the genders equally.
For men, I think they're often treated like, well, you know, bald is a look anyway. And the fact is, alopecia areata disproportionately affects children 18 and under. So it's not a look for a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old.
Alopecia is an autoimmune disorder where the body attacks its own hair follicles. There is no cure, but new trials show promise. And this month, Nicole's team is gearing up for the San Francisco Walk for Alopecia, a national event to raise awareness, fund research, and give people living with alopecia a chance to connect.
It's a wonderful coming together of the community. And particularly if you or someone you care about has alopecia areata, we encourage you to come out and find this amazing community.
Matt now walks with his community and wishes he had something like that growing up in rural Oregon, a place where he can be himself, feel seen, and help others on their journey.
When I went to college, I remember the first day I showed up before class started when we were moving into the dorm, I decided I wasn't going to wear my hat anymore.
That is, until the day he graduated from college. He found confidence, found love. He built a successful investment business, and he became a father.
Come on, sweetie. Let's go.
Now he's living fully, brave and hopeful for a day when no one will have to feel alone or hide their head.
You got it.
Matt and his family will be in the San Francisco Walk for Alopecia tomorrow at the band shell in Golden Gate Park. As we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, we are highlighting a Chicana artist whose art is making waves with her vibrant and culturally rich artwork, all while telling the story of her roots. For the second season in a row, Cecilia Perez's artwork is featured in the Giants Artist Series. That series celebrates the intersection between sports, art, and Bay Area culture. Her artwork tells the story of San Francisco through her eyes. Her mission to represent the Chicano culture that she loves in the most positive way.
Very proud, and I'm very unapologetic when it comes to being a Chicana artist. My artwork speaks for itself, and my background growing up speaks for itself as well. And so I have no qualms whatsoever in just being myself.
We have Cecilia's full story coming up at 5 on our evening edition. And check out our 30-minute special, Una Familia, airing on October 16th, 7:30 p.m. It's going to be hosted by our own Len Ramirez and Gianna Franco. Coming up here on CBS News Bay Area, she is taking the search for her soulmate across the Bay Area. We're going to meet the woman who went viral for using billboards to try to find love. Putting yourself out there can be tough for some people, especially if you're single and ready to mingle. But one woman here in the Bay Area came up with a unique approach when it comes to finding Mr. Right. As Sarah Donchi shows us, she decided to think bigger.
I never thought that this would be something that I would do. No. Like never, no.
It takes a special kind of courage to put yourself out there like this.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm looking for love, and I'm trying to find it alongside of one of the San Francisco Bay Area's busiest highways.
No, it's not how it sounds, though you might see Lisa on the side of the highway if you look up.
I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna make my own website, and I kind of channeled my frustration a little bit into that, and then I was thinking, well, I have to promote the website somehow. How am I gonna do that? And then, you know, you're just driving along 101 and you see all these digital billboards, and I figured, well, yeah, hey, it's a local form of it's a very local form of advertising. It's targeted and, yeah, captive audience, if you will.
Lisa, who describes herself as a woman of many hobbies and who runs her own vintage clothing store, is also the woman behind MaryLisa.com.
I mean, I really tried to think of everything when I made the website.
There you can read about her interests, check out her pictures, and even read anonymous references, if you will, from friends and family. You can also apply for a date. I pointed out this sounds like a job interview, and to that, Lisa says,
yeah, it kind of is a big application for, I think, the most important person you'll hire in life.
Dating was just not working for Lisa. She'd had other relationships, including a longtime partner who passed away. But since then, it's been harder to actually break through the initial swiping to make it to substantive dating. Lisa has approached the website and billboards like a kind of part-time job. She's planned for safety, screens her messages, checks her web traffic.
When I first told my friends and family about it, I think at first everybody was shocked and questioning whether or not this was a good idea. And then after, it took anywhere from 10 minutes to 2 weeks for people to kind of be like, well, you know what? Okay, sure, why not?
And she even optimized the 8-second digital billboards, timing them perfectly with the morning and evening commutes. Since she's launched her efforts, she's gone semi-viral on TikTok, has gotten calls from reporters, and had thousands of visits to her site.
I was definitely prepared for negative comments, very prepared for negative comments, because of course you're always going to have those. I was not prepared for the volume of positive comments. I'm 42 and I want to start a family, so I want to make sure that when I start to date someone, that there's not going to be something that comes up that's a deal breaker for me 6 months or a year into the process.
Lisa has also bought taxi top ads in San Francisco, so you might see her there too. We wish her the best of luck. Thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ann Makovic. We're going to be right back with your First Alert forecast and another look at your top stories.